What's up, Liverpool fans? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We are here for Friday's Final Word, a recap of all the latest Liverpool news and rumors and open agenda. So here to talk about pretty much anything that we want, anything that you guys want. So go ahead and leave your questions or opinions in the chat and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. As always, we're your hosts, Steven, Scans, and Wahomie. And for this fun episode, we had to bring on one of our good buddies. You guys know him from his LFC chats. We brought Dave. Dave, welcome back. Recurring guest now. How you doing, man?
All good, baby. I'm going to put on a goddamn American accent tonight, boys. I'm ready to roll.
We love it. Yeah, we love to hear. Hey, if you can do it the whole episode, I'll give you a lot of credit. That's for sure.
I could do a Canadian accent, too.
Fair enough. I love it. But fellas, Wahomie, Andrew, how are we guys doing?
Friday, man. Can't complain.
Can't complain, but I'm just.
But I'm going to.
Oh, sorry.
All the news is just depressing.
What's depressing?
What's depressing, man? Kick us off. What's depressing with you right now?
Henderson injured. Alisson might not be able to play Sheffield United, or if he has to go to Brazil, he might miss it for the whole of March. That our season is a knife edge. If Keller's injured still, if Adrian has to play in goal, we're screwed. That's depressing.
That is depressing.
Have you any good news? Have you? Holy shit. I'll give you some good news. I'll give you some good news, right? The good news is we are Liverpool, baby. That's the good news.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, we are.
Thank God we got Dave here because Andrew's been miserable in the last episode. Wahomie is miserable to start up this episode. So thank God I got Dave here to keep the spirits up with me, keep the smiles on the faces. So we appreciate it. Chris Welch in the chat, so consistent every time. We appreciate you, man. We'll have to have you on very soon. But yeah, I mean, let's start with that. When it comes to the Alisson stuff, the last thing I'm going to do is, obviously we sent out our condolences to him yesterday, and as Liverpool fans, Liverpool family, we're all here to support him 100%. He needs to do what he needs to do, whether it's missing this weekend, missing all of March. Go do what you have to do, man. This is family first. We support you no matter what. But let's just assume off of Wahomie's, miserableness over here that he is out for all of March. Are you guys comfortable with Kelleher and net? And I mean, do you got how big of an impact do you think that's going to be? Because I think Kelleher has been great for us. I think he stepped up well. And I don't know, I know it's not ideal missing a world-class goalkeeper between the posts, but maybe we could rally behind a guy like Kelleher, and maybe that could be, have the guy work extra hard. I mean, Dave, why don't you kick us off? Because I know you got some positivity in your bones. So what do you think?
Okay. Queevy and Kelleher, of course, young Irish from Cork in Ireland, down the road from me. But he's a good young goalkeeper. I mean, he's had a few chances. He's done well in all the chances he played. I'd be confident in him. You can have Adrian as his backup, I suppose. But you couldn't play Becker the weekend. His dad passed away. Tragic circumstances, of course, in Brazil. He was very close to his dad. I don't think his head would be right. Even if he wanted to play the game, I don't think his head would be right. You have to be 100% to play in the Premier League, as we know. And there's just no way I don't think he can play. And I think Queevy and Kelleher will fill in. There's no problem. I don't see any issue with Queevy and Kelleher filling in. I think he's a good young keeper. I'd rather him than Adrian, to be honest. He's just that bit better, He does the simple thing. Sorry, he does the hard thing simple. Just play it simple. None of the messing around at the back. Just get it out. When you're under pressure, get it out. None of this playing around, as I always say. Some of the keepers overplay it. I mean, Alisson's overplayed it at times. You don't need to do that. Just get it out. When in doubt, get it out. That's the famous saying. I used to be a goalkeeper myself. Back in 1567, when in doubt, get the ball out. Before they even invented footballs, that was. I'd be comfortable with Kelleher. Yeah, I absolutely would. But rest in peace, Mr. Becker. Jose Becker, I think his name was. Alisson's dad. Very tragic. And Alisson, whatever he wants to do, the club will get behind him 100%. So will the fans. I mean, it's an absolute tragedy. This season has been the tragedies of tragedies. We've had 3 seasons of injuries combined into 6 months, compressed into 6 months. That's 3 seasons because we hadn't had much injuries in the last 2.5 seasons. They're all compressed now in the last month or two. And we've had 2 tragedies. Klopp's mum, Elizabeth, passing away in Germany, couldn't go to the funeral. We're in a pandemic, 100-year pandemic. And now Alisson Becker's dad passes away and he can't go to the funeral. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's going to go to Brazil or not, but it's just crazy times. It's just crazy times, guys.
Yeah, I mean, where are these rumors coming from that Kelleher is still injured? I thought I saw him on the training video from Liverpool. I thought he was training.
I didn't see anything about Kelleher being injured, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think if Adrian was starting, you know, we already have a broken back line that doesn't have much confidence, a team that doesn't have much confidence. To put in a goalkeeper like that would definitely cause even further troubles. But I think I completely agree with you. I think Kelleher is definitely going to – I think the drop-off there, yeah, Alisson's world-class. But Kelleher has been great for every game he's played. And, you know, he's good with his feet, so you can pass the ball back to him. I'm pretty confident having him back there, so I'm not really concerned about that going into this game. I'm concerned about scoring goals. That's what I'm concerned about.
I see what everyone's saying. And look, family does come first. So from a family perspective, from Alisson's perspective, yeah, he should go Brazil and be with his family, but I don't think he's able to go Brazil. From a club perspective, it's disastrous for us to lose Alisson this season. Now, I got blasted last night from loads of people, even though I don't think I said anything really wrong. Because I tweeted that personal level, Alisson should go to Brazil and be with his family. I understand that. But from a club perspective, it was disastrous for us to lose Alisson for a month, who he was to go. Because, yes, while Keller has been good, Champions League, I mean, luckily, if Alisson was to go for a month, the quarterfinals are until the 6th or 7th of April. So he'd be back in time for that, luckily. Arsenal, 3rd of April. Probably be back for that, in time for that. But obviously, with our makeshift defence, the Leipzig game is a huge match for Kelleher to play in. Let's not be, beat around the bush in that. So, while he's been good, that's a bit a level above, in terms of it. So he's going to ask a lot of him. And some might say, what was it, the FA Cup game against Villa, the one against Villa? There was obviously some question marks over his goalkeeping in that game. But overall, obviously, when he played in the Wolves earlier on in the season, he was very, very good. So overall, I'd rather, I'd be confident with Kelleher, but if Adrian has to play at any point, then we're in trouble. Simple as that. There's no point putting a bush. If he has to play at any point the season, then that's our start of the Champions League and the title top 4 because he's not good enough, and we've seen that before. So obviously, as I said, I echo sentiments. Obviously, thoughts go out to Alisson Becker's family, and I fully agree for him to go there if he can go and be with his family. He shouldn't be here because football, family comes first. But just from a club's point of view, to lose our top keeper with everything that's already going on, it's just another kick in the teeth from a club's perspective. But I wouldn't expect Alisson to play this weekend. I agree with you there. I think Kelleher should step in because I don't think Alisson's head's, as much of a professional he is, and I saw something yesterday where they said that Alisson tried everything in his power to go to Brazil, but he wasn't able to. I just think he should be left out of this game totally. I know Klopp as well said that it's not 100% if he's going to play on Sunday or not. But I don't think he should get an option. I think he just said, look, just take the day off and put Keller in goal.
He's probably leaving it up to Alisson himself. I mean, I messaged John Octoberg, the Liverpool first team coach, goalkeeping coach, on Instagram yesterday. And he said he's devastated. Well, I know he was devastated because, Alisson, it was so close to his dad. And it wasn't as if he was in hospital and he was sick for a few weeks or a few months.
Yeah.
It was like an accident.
Tragedy.
I mean, it was an accident. So sorry, something. Michael Knight's coming on there. It was an accident, and
nothing wrong with that.
I know, but I mean, a tragic accident basically. And I mean, any when your father or mother dies, it's bad anyway. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But when it's sudden and tragic, and you're probably getting a phone call from Brazil, knowing that he can't go back home without there being a big ordeal, it's just we have had so much. You can call it bad luck. You can call it what you want. Never mind injury. Even football. Forget about football, really. I mean, Klopp's mum dying as well. More important things than football, realistically. Family, friends, more important than football, aren't they? I mean, we're talking about football. It's a hobby for me. It's a hobby, whatever you guys do. Realistically, if something happens to a friend or something, you drop everything, really, don't you? And you go to the cause and stuff. So, I mean, rest in peace, and I just hope Alisson comes back. I mean, I know he's real religious. He's a real religious man.
Yes.
I think he's a born again Christian. I'm not quite sure. Him and Bobby Firmino are very close, so I'm sure that will help him through these dark times. But I think he'll be back. But I don't think he'll play Sunday.
Yeah, there's no way he should play on Sunday. And I mean, the one thing I will say is, I think from like a shot blocking standpoint, I think Kelleher is perfectly fine as a goalkeeper in that regard. We've seen him make big saves for us this year. I think that the biggest concern with Alisson being out from a football standpoint would just be, again, the lack of leadership and the lack of communication in the back. 'Cause I don't see Kelleher being a super vocal guy, and obviously without Van Dijk already, no Gomez now. I mean, we're down to our sixth, seventh center back options. There's not a ton of leadership in that back line. That's really the only thing that concerns me is, can they stay disciplined now? And now not having the sweeper keeper with Alisson being able to, who's not afraid to come out of the box and, make a clearance out at 35, 40 yards out if need be. That's really the only thing I see trouble in. I mean, luckily we're up 2-0 on Leipzig going into the second leg. So I think Kelleher is more than capable of handling himself in that regard. And, a lot of people are giving Kabak slack for, his lack of aerial play against Everton and how bad he was in that game. Like I know both teams had to play with that crazy wind, but like that's not easy to do when the ball gets hit 40 yards up in the air and the wind's just taking it all over the place. Like I think he's a lot better than what we saw against Everton. And I think that he's more than capable, even at 20 years old. I think he's more than capable for being a go-to guy for us in the back. But the biggest thing for me is just the leadership and the communication.
I think that this weekend's going to be really interesting because we don't have, and I've said it before, we don't have a general in the back four, command. And now with Alisson out as well, there's nobody really directing the line. You're going to have Kabak, who's pretty much, 3-4 games into his Liverpool career. Then you're going to have Davies or Phillips back there as well, who I don't know if they're really leaders or not. I don't think Phillips is. He's, 22, 23 years old. I don't expect him to be able to man the high line or anything like that. So I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Fabinho's not close. I don't think Fabinho's back from injury either. So
he's training today, they said.
He did train today. Yeah, but doesn't Klopp say he needs 2 days of training or something? So I guess maybe today.
I don't see for Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think you should throw him in either. But
no.
I think it'll be this weekend will be another testament to that back line, to be honest. And I'm curious to see what he does in the midfield as well. I mean, he's going to probably stick with Gini, right, to add that additional protection. Although I would like to see Thiago because we're going to have so much possession. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I actually know that when I say I know the team, I think I know the team he will play. I obviously Alisson won't be there. I think it'll be Keller. I think it'll be Kabak and Phillips, and I think it'll be Trent and Robbo. I think it'll be Thiago, Jones, and Gini, and the three amigos up front with Jota and Keita on the bench.
I see that as a part of the team, but that team doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever because we've seen last.
Holy shit! Do you ever watch Charlie, Willy Wonka, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? Do you remember Charlie? Cheer up, Charlie. Cheer up, homie. Holy shit!
The reason why I say that, the reason why I specifically say that is this: we've seen Jones, Gini, and Thiago. If you're playing a Leipzig, they're perfect. We're going to have space and pressing and that resistance. You're playing a low block, they do not work. So that against Everton, they don't work. They don't work. They just doesn't work. Because when someone's going to sit back and just defend, you need a midfielder that's going to take risks, that's going to get in the box. And
Yeah.
none of them three take any risk whatsoever with the ball. None of them three make any effort to get in the box and run beyond the marker or take a shot on. I think the only time we've actually even had that recently was probably Milner when we played. I think it was West Ham, or he was actually making runs in the box. He's the only one that's been doing that in the last since 2021. And I think that's the issue for me. I feel that Sheffield United are going to know what they're going to do. They're going to come and they're just going to play long balls. They're going to play, ball in the air most of the time, sit 5 men behind the back, and just defend. And what we're going to see is that we saw it against Everton. Jones, Ginny, and Thiago, none of them take any risks. And the same thing. Realistically, for me, we're relying on Jota to come off the bench to win us that game. I don't think we're going to win that game with the players on the pitch. It'll be Jota off the bench who comes on and probably scores.
Didn't Jota do it for us at Anfield? Did he come off the bench and score 2 against them?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jota has got the lotta. He's on the bench, so he's going to be on the bench, hopefully Sunday, because it just gives us that bonus. It just gives us that little spark that we've been missing, to be honest. We have been missing Jota for since he got injured.
Yeah.
We won't mention the game, Mjøtland in Denmark, but I just think it's a huge bonus to have him there. Just to have him last 20 even to come on. It's huge. Because the three amigos up front, to be honest, other than Salah scoring a lot of goals, but even Mane in the mirror has not been looking in the mirror. He hasn't been himself. He hasn't been himself.
The mirror's broken. I just want to go to the chat real quick. I actually said this yesterday on yesterday's show, the preview. Was that yesterday that we did that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Welch said that I would start Thiago, Jones, and Keita in the midfield. Obviously not happening. I mean, I would agree with that too. I don't think that I would even play somebody like Ox or Shaqiri in that midfield instead of Gini Wijnaldum, just because against a low block, and I love Gini Wijnaldum, but against a low block, Gini doesn't move the ball quickly enough. He's very slow. He tends to dribble, and instead of passing into space, he dribbles into space. So I think somebody like Gini, he needs the rest anyway. This would be a good match to put him on the bench. Put Thiago in that 6, and while that doesn't give us much protection for the back 4, I think against a team like Sheffield, we have to take that chance just because they're not going to have many opportunities to begin with. We're going to have so much possession that we can afford to take that risk. So that's why I would include Curtis Jones in there. He deserves to start. And then I would also include either Oxlade-Chamberlain or Shaqiri. I would probably put in Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe bring in Keita in like the 60th minute.
Nabila.
What one thing I don't get is, for me, is I feel that it's clear now. If David doesn't start on Sunday, he's getting sold in the summer. Simple as that. He's no future at the club. Because if he can't play against the bottom club of the Premiership on Sunday, why do we buy him? What's the point in buying him? Because there's no excuse now. He's not been injured. He's had 2 weeks of training. He's not been injured. There's no excuse. And also the whole point of Davis was he was an excellent passer, long distance passer, long range passer. He could do switch of play. That's what was highlighted when he was at Preston. The fact that he could do switch of play, long balls, passes. People said it wasn't Van Dijk level, but Van Dijk-esque passing range. And against Sheffield United, if Van Dijk was fit, we were saying that his long range passing is a difference maker in terms of switching play, getting behind a low block. Davies has that as a locker, so if he doesn't play Sunday, for me, he's getting sold in the summer. He was just bought for profit because we know that Celtic, Newcastle, all after him, and we beat him to him, he'll get sold for 5 million. Because I don't see why he's not been played.
Well, I think he did pick up a knock. I think he did pick up a knock like his first weekend at the club. But other than that, yeah, I mean,
he might not. He's fit to play. He's fit to play.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for him not to play Sunday. Because why buy him?
It's rare now Klopp will risk anything, especially away from home. He just historically doesn't do it. But just the position we're in there with players, we just don't have the numbers. So he might just do something unusual that we're all sort of be caught off guard with the lineup with an hour to go on Sunday. It's rare that he mixes things up. It is rare. You look at it. He could play Davies Kabak. He could play Phillips Kabak. He could play Phillips and Davies. I mean, you just don't know what he's going to do. But the lineup I gave you is obviously sitting on the fence. It's a type of lineup that Klopp usually likes, but I don't know. The way things are happening, the way Liverpool are going, I don't think we should risk. I mean, I'm not saying risk. I don't think we should risk because our season's gone down the bloody drain. To be honest with you, we've nothing to lose. We need to get top 4, and it's not going to be easy. We're in the last 16. We have a good lead against Leipzig, but the way we're playing at home, I mean, we're better away from home. So even the 2-0 against Leipzig is a nice cushion now. It is a nice cushion, but that game's not over. So I think Klopp should maybe experiment the odd little 1-2 players. Maybe, as you say, Naby, maybe Davies, throw him in there. When we signed Davies, I was nearly more excited with Davies than I was with the Quebec signing because he looks quite good. He's a big lad, good on the ball, as you said. Give him a chance. Throw what happens. I mean, what we've got to do is 3 points. I mean, Sheffield United's not going to be an easy game, guys. I mean, I've seen a few fellas calling draws. Like, it's not an easy game. I'd take 1-0 right now, all day long.
That was my prediction was 1-0. I have no confidence going into this game, to be honest with you. Like it's scary to think that Liverpool playing the team that's at the very bottom of the Premier League, and I don't think that we're going to win. Liverpool hasn't shown me anything over the last 2 months to make me think that we're going to go in there and dominate the game. Especially with how Sheffield plays with a 5-3-2 formation. The wings are going to be clogged up. There's not going to be anything go through the middle, and we never play through the middle anyway. So now we're going to have Trent just whipping balls in like he always does because we have no plan B. So it's just going to be Trent whipping balls into a tall back line. And I just don't understand where the goal, like how we're going to score. It's going to be like my prediction was 1-0 off of a weird goal coming late. And I think that's exactly like I don't understand. I don't know where it's going to come from because Salah and Mane are going to be double
Jota
the wings.
Jota off the bench, baby.
I think Jota or Keita.
Maybe a bench. Yeah. Someone from the bench, I think, could do it later on, maybe last 15, last 20. Because remember, it was the last year we played them. We only won 1-0, and it was a genie. It was a weird goal, to be fair, wasn't it? The goalkeeper made a complete B of it. So, I mean, it's not easy. Yeah, as you said, Sheffield United are probably looking at Liverpool and saying, listen, lads, they're the champions, but they're not playing well and they're fragile. If we get in and at them the first 10, 15 and we score, especially if they score against us, we're not good at chasing games. If we score, it's probably a bit better. You'd probably say that against Leicester, but it didn't happen. But we actually played okay against Leicester. But if they score against us away from home and they get in amongst us, they're big, strong lads, I think we'd be in trouble. So we've got to be aggressive. We've got to be first 10, 15. Yeah, we've got to be aggressive. Get in at them and get an early goal and go from there, build confidence. Because if they score early, I think we're in trouble.
That's the thing, David. You said it right there. That's the big concern, I think, is that we don't – against the big teams, we tend to start quickly. But against teams like Sheffield and, bottom 10, we don't do that at all. And that's the issue. We give them hope. And we know what Sheffield's going to do. They're going to sit back with 11 behind the ball. And I think actually throughout the first half, I think that's what their game plan is going to be. And in the second half, they're going to look to strike quickly and catch us off guard. I think that's what's going to happen. And as the game goes on against a low block, it just gives the team defending more confidence and the team who's attacking or trying to score a goal less confidence. So, I mean, the way this season's been going, the way this team's been playing, unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. I predicted 1-0, and hopefully that'll be the case. But I don't know. I'm not that confident.
Well, Dave, I wanted to get your opinion on this because I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. Like, I just feel like, especially since December, since we started this awful run of games we've been playing, like I've just been waiting for somebody just to say, like, okay, like fuck it, I'll do it myself, and just be the spark that this team needs. You know what I mean? Like we're waiting. Like I've just been waiting for somebody to take the team by the balls and just do it himself. And I thought after we beat Leipzig, I was like, oh, okay, maybe we beat Leipzig, we beat Everton, now we're getting on the roll. But then we put in an awful performance against, not the best performance against Everton. I feel like now we're almost just relying on either Jota or Keita to be that spark and give us something different and propel this team going forwards. Like, have you identified that at all? Like, because I'm almost feeling that our season relies on these two guys.
Jota for me has been the spark, and he's been injured. Jota was a spark. He was on fire when he got injured. I mean, he was on fire. I guarantee you right now, Jota wasn't injured. We'd have it maybe 7 or 8 points more, at least. Some of them draws we got would have been wins. You know, the 0-0, the Newcastle 0-0. He would have come on there and scored or started and scored. Big chances in that game. The 1-1 against West Brom. You know, the draws, they would have been probably 2 or 3 of them turned into wins. Huge difference. Jota's huge. So if we can get him back firing and in the squad, Bobby Firmino must be looking over his back saying, I'm in trouble here for starting place if Jota can come back anywhere near what he was like when he got injured. Because he just gives us that extra bit. So something different. And that's what we need, something different. Like Naby lad, Keita, something different. The problem with Naby is he gets injured playing PlayStation. He gets injured at home. He could be playing FIFA football. He hurt his leg, hamstring. What are we doing? Playing FIFA on television. So that's the problem with Naby. He's just injury. And that's my problem for Naby going forward. Someone that injury prone. Will you ever get rid of the niggles? I don't know. I just... Some plagues players. Look at Ox as well. There's another one you think might give you a spark. Ox, when he was at his best and playing well, got a run of games, he could do something. Take a shot now. The goal against City, out of nowhere, go buy a player. So we've no one in midfield that can actually go buy a player. Go buy a player and pass the ball. Go buy it. Like Thiago does it, but he's playing as you said, a 6. He needs to play behind the front 3. That's really why we bought him for, to be feeding. He's basically feeding the front 3, but now he's not. He's more or less protecting the back 4, and we haven't had our centre half there. We won't have our goalkeeper probably there. We won't have our 2 centre halves there, and you'll probably see Thiago there again because there's no Fabinho, there's no Henderson. He's all the experience. He's won everything. Thiago. So Klopp's probably looking at him now as the main man. You're the man with all the medals around your neck. You're the general, and he probably will play as like a type of 6 again at the weekend because we've no choice. And Jota, Firmino, have him on the bench at the weekend. Klopp, don't bring him on the 89th minute. Bring him on with at least 20 minutes to go and give him a chance to win the game because I think he could be the spark. I really do.
It comes back to that Michelin game, playing him in a pointless game that ruined our season. And I'd go along and say the 2 biggest decisive moments of our season: Van Dijk injured. That's huge. Obviously, that we couldn't.
Van Dijk was assaulted. He wasn't injured.
So yeah, and then us playing Jota in a meaningless game and taking our first team players to Michelin, where Klopp complained for weeks about substitutions and fixture schedules. Then he plays Jota, and that threw away our season. I mean, because
but that's true. But what people forget about with injuries, and especially big injuries are there in the background. They're like an earthquake. They're already there. They're rubbing against each other. Just that it happened in that game doesn't mean it was going to happen to Jota in the next game. What I'm saying to you is they're not just something random. They're already there. The injury like that, like a hamstring, it's there. It's stretched. So it's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 games. It just so happened in a pointless game. But what I'm saying to you is even if he rested him for that game, doesn't mean he wasn't going to injure the next game.
Yeah, but we can't live by that way. We knew that he wasn't.
But that's life. That's exactly why Klopp's not living by that way and bringing him on for the Maitland game.
Yeah, I disagree.
Also,
you know what I mean?
But also Mane, Salah, and Firmino didn't play that game. We brought Jota in to be the 4th option to be our guy off the bench. Isn't he supposed to play in these in that type of game when you vest the front 3? Doesn't he supposed to go in there?
I thought he would have started that game.
Because no one is your top scorer, and he's the only one that was actually carrying the team. If in that run of games, Jota had scored the winner in at least 5 straight games. The other front 3 were dire at that point. You take him out, we've seen the crap we've had since Jota's been injured. So let's be real. Like it was pointless. For me, you should have played the start of that game. You were going to play anyone because he needed the minutes or the actual get to form, not Jota. You don't play your informed striker in a pointless game that has meaningless. And the whole thing about he needed minutes, we were playing 3 games a week at that point, so I don't even buy that about the minutes.
And the whole season, yeah.
It was just nonsense to play him there. It was nonsense to play him there, and it's now our season's gone down the drain. And now we're relying on Jota. I think you said, Dave, if Jota had been fit for those games, Newcastle, West Brom, we win those games because he was scored. Instead, we were stuck with, as much as I love Bobby, we're stuck with Bobby's dire finishing in a lot of those games where he missed simple chances. Where if he takes those chances, we are 3 points. We're 3 points clear. And that's cost us our season, to be honest. It's cost us our season. And, obviously, there's all this massive debate that people are having, like, FSG have come in a lot of criticism for their part. They should have backed Klopp on the transfer window the 1st of January, and they should have done that, done a lot more. But Klopp's not blameless in all of this. He's poor tactic, poor substitutions, poor decisions all season on his side. He's equal to blame for this. And one of his big mistakes was playing Jota in a meaningless game, which that's cost the season.
Yeah,
I believe we would be further up the table challenging Man City if Jota had been stayed fit.
I'll agree to disagree.
Me too.
I think the big thing. I mean, I agree with most of what Wahomie said, but I think the big thing for me is that it just makes Klopp. It made Klopp look like such a hypocrite. The fact that he was literally complaining to the point that he became a meme on the internet about the lack of substitutions. Just like it became ridiculous. Even from a Liverpool fan's point of view, I was getting sick of him talking about the lack of substitutions. We should go to 5 substitutions. How many games that we've had, and then his first opportunity to rest everybody because we had already qualified. What does he do? He starts our most informed striker, and ever since then, we haven't been able to score an effing goal. So I agree with the homie. I think a lot of it, maybe some of it's on FSG, maybe some of it's on the players, but Klopp's hands are dirty too in this, and he needs to take some of the blame, which I think he has.
He didn't cover himself in glory. That's true, of course. I know what you're saying, where he was giving out about the 5 subs and then he didn't really use them. I think I've seen it all on Twitter, actually. A few of the teams that are giving out about the 5 subs rule didn't actually ever use the 5 subs, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get into an argument over subs, but I just think, listen, Wahomie's laughing. Woohoo! He's happy. I hope you're this happy on Sunday night, baby, with a Liverpool 3 points. Points mean prizes. We just got to get back to the win away. I've got to go soon, guys. I would love to stay on, but I've got fans knocking on the window here.
Thanks for joining.
We'll do it again. I'll do the Leipzig one with you if you want. No problem.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
I'll DM you. Yeah, we'd love to have you post that. Yeah, but I'll DM you. We'll coordinate. Thanks, Dave.
Stay safe. This means more. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Dave's the man. We appreciate you, Dave. But yeah, just to kind of, this is the perfect time to kind of, transition here. The next 3 matches.
Let's go to let's just go to what J-Dog said in the chat. He said, imagine if Salah was injured in the last 2 months, we would be fighting for survival in the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, I think someone said yesterday that Salah's had 26 goals in all competitions this year. But just if you start the season on January 1st, I think we would be in the bottom 3 at least, right?
1 point clear of the bottom 3.
1 point clear. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
I mean, it's a legitimate concern. I just never thought we'd have this front. I never thought we'd have this front 3 and have an issue with scoring goals. Like it's mind blowing to me. The fact that we have to rely on a guy who came in at the very end of the summer transfer window and be our go-to guys is definitely a problem. But I mean, looking at our next 3 key fixtures, we have Sheffield, we got Fulham, and Chelsea. I mean, usually I look at these games and be like, okay, that's an easy 9 points for us. But I mean, that Chelsea match is shaping up to be probably, like we've said it a lot of times, like match of the season. That literally is going to be the match of the season. And unfortunately for us, we need to get 6 points before then for it to be a big game. Because if we don't get max points going into that game, it's pretty much already over.
Chelsea's after Sheffield United.
Yeah. So how concerned are you guys about getting a win against Chelsea? I mean, how like these next 3 games are ultimately going to decide our Premier League future. So I mean, how concerned are you guys about getting max points in these 3 games, despite 2 of them being against relegation clubs?
Well, I mean, Chelsea's next few fixtures aren't easy either. They play Manchester United on Sunday, right before us. They play us the next game, and they play Everton, and then they play Leeds. So those next 4 games are huge for them too. And for me, I'm not so convinced about Chelsea right now. I mean, I think Tuchel's a decent coach, but I still think they have a lot of issues, especially with their front line. And I think that we can beat them. I think they kind of play into our hands the way that they play. I just hope Fabinho's back for that game. If Fabinho's back for that game, I think we easily win it. If not, then we have to use Phillips and Kabak back there. Might be a little more difficult, but yeah, I mean, I'm still confident in the top four. I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. I'm not confident that all the other teams are going to, win out. None of them, except for City, really have shown the consistency that's taken to earn that spot this season. And, who are the other teams involved? Everton? I don't think Everton is going to beat Chelsea. I could see that game being a tie. There's just so many different games that could go up in the air. Spurs the same way. Who else is in it? Aston Villa, I think, is still in it. West Ham, I'm not convinced about to earn the top four. I mean, whenever they play a top six team, they haven't looked that great, except for I think Tottenham they beat recently. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
The one thing that concerns me about Chelsea is that I said it yesterday on the pod, is that when you fire your manager and bring a new manager in, you typically get a spark for a few weeks. You typically play a little bit better. The guys work a little bit harder because it's like, wow, if I play well, I can earn a spot with this new guy. And you've kind of seen it in some of their performances. I think they've actually played well as of late under Tuchel. So that's the only thing that concerns me. I think still, even with all of our injuries, we should be able to beat them. But that being said, they have the spark under Tuchel. And they have Thiago Silva coming back from injury. It doesn't look like he's going to play for United, against the United. But of course, he'll probably be back against us like always. So, that's the only thing that concerns me about the Chelsea match.
Well, I think we need Man United to beat Chelsea this weekend because we can't catch United, so forget about them. So we need them to. They got a good record against Chelsea. We need them to beat United this weekend.
Yeah,
United to beat them. Do I feel confident with those games? Sheffield United and Fulham? Probably not. I think Fulham are the favourites for our game at Anfield, to be honest.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
That's how it is. Our form at Anfield is atrocious. You can't play
it. It is. But, I mean, it's scary. It's scary to think that it's like a push. It's like a push match.
But it is. The fact of the matter is that the form there is atrocious, and we're struggling against Fulham away even early on the season. So I don't see why all of a sudden we're going to beat them at home so easily after we were shocking against them away from home. I mean, the only obviously good thing about that is Jota wasn't there for that game. All the games we suffered in, Jota wasn't there. So I happen to think if he can find some form quickly, like get a goal on Sunday and then find some form, then we beat Fulham. I'm confident without getting a win there. Chelsea game, they've got obviously the new buzz from the new manager, you've said. I still don't rate Tuchel. I don't think he's that great of a manager. And I still don't think Chelsea defense is that great either. Their defense is, their defense isn't any better than us, and we've had so many players out injured. I don't think Thiago Silva's been that great at Chelsea either. I think he's been overhyped. He's played in a lot of games where they've been poor and they conceded goals when he's played. So I think Chelsea, we normally have a good record against Chelsea over the recent years. I think, look, if Jota starts that game and Fabinho's back, we win that.
I think Jota will start that game. I think Jota will start that game.
Because I don't think Chelsea aren't going to play defensive football against us. They're not going to come play low block. They're going to come in because they need to get top four too. And I think the top four basically that race is between us and Chelsea. Leicester, Man United, and City aren't going to get cashed. We're not going to catch them. We're not good enough to catch them the way we're playing. It's between us and Chelsea that fourth place. And I think if we can win those next 3 games, Chelsea's run of fixtures for the end of the season are much more harder than us, and they will drop more points. Especially if they lose to Man United this weekend, that's catastrophe for them for the top 4 race. I know they had a great win at Atletico, but Chelsea aren't going to win the Champions League either. So, realistically, the Atletico win was them doing everyone else a favour by kicking Atletico if they do it again in the second leg. So I think it's just between us and Chelsea for that top 4. I don't see West Ham doing it. I don't see Villa doing it. I don't see Everton being consistent enough to do it either.
Look at West Ham's next several games. I mean, they play Man City tomorrow. Then they play Leeds, United, Arsenal, Wolves, and Leicester. None of those games are easy games for them. I think they could potentially lose all of those games. So, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. The season is not over by any means. We need that spark. I keep talking about it. We need that spark up front, and hopefully Jota is that. Hopefully Keita is that. It needs to come from those two guys because it's not going to come from anybody else really.
Yeah, but do you think there's too much pressure on those guys now? I mean, I feel like everybody's looking at these two guys from a fan perspective and maybe even from a player perspective. They may be looking at these guys like we need something, so I mean, how hard I just see that's going to be very hard for, even though Jota was on fire before, for him to recapture that coming off an injury, and Keita, relying on him to play 60 minutes plus. Like, is that feasible to put this much pressure on these guys? Is my concern, because I think it has to come from them at this point. But I
think it provides us with that additional option or that change that we've all been looking for. For the past 3 months, we've had this pretty much the same lineup for the most part. Hendo's in and out, Fabinho's been in and out, but other than that, it's been pretty consistent. So I think if you can add Keita or Jota to the mix, that presents the team with a different potential. So I mean, up front, that we've been seeing the same thing from Mane, Salah, and Firmino. They've been playing together for 4 years. If you add somebody new into that and take one of them out, something changes. The chemistry changes. You have somebody else making a different run than they normally would because it is somebody else. So I think Jota is massive. It's absolutely massive. So I'm optimistic.
I think obviously there's a lot of pressure, 100% on both of them now, and I just hope it doesn't take. I hope Jota can quickly find some form and doesn't take him like a month or a couple of weeks to find any kind of form for match sharpness. Because normally when you have an injury for like 3 or 4 months, it does take you a month to get match fitness, match sharpness. But I hope for him it's a quick transition and that he can come on Sunday, get a goal quickly, and then find some form, because then we can then start saying, yeah, we've got a good chance here. Because I personally think as soon as Jota's now fit, Bobby's out of the team. Bobby's a bench player now, and he's an impact player, and he should not be starting any games now rest of the season ahead of Jota. It should be Jota, Salah, Mane going forward, because Bobby's just been atrocious. Mane's been shocking too, but the days of Bobby being the focal point is over, and we've seen already our best football majority of times has been without Bobby. So
do you think he'd still have a role though if we change formations to more of like a 4-2-3-1, or do you think that he's just truly shot at this point?
I don't think we got the players to play 4-2-3-1 with that, because unless you're playing, the only way you can play 4-3-2-1 is if you had Fabinho, Henderson in midfield. We tried against City and it didn't work. At half time we were gassed and we ran out of steam. And the second half, Man City just dominated the game at Anfield. No, Etihad. So, I don't think we can play 4-2-3-1 and play Jota, Firmino, Salah, and Mane with the midfield we've got currently right now. It ain't going to work. And we'll be too exposed. I think you need a Fabinho and Henderson both in there for that to work. So, I don't think Klopp will play that way. I'd love him to do, because I think I'd love him just to take the risk anyhow and still just do it.
What about the diamond? What about the diamond midfield that we saw that one time?
The West Ham one.
That one time we played well.
Can you play diamond with Firmino though?
I think Firmino would be better in there than Shaqiri.
Ox could play that role too. So that's where I want to transition to is Ox, but you can answer that diamond question first. I don't know. I just don't want us to. My thing is, I just don't want us to continue to see Trent whipping 15 balls a game with no on form striker. It's not working.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like when Jota comes back into the side, I don't think that necessarily means that Firmino needs to just go straight to the bench. I think that maybe for the first couple games, yeah, but Mane hasn't convinced me that he deserves to start every single game. I mean, I think you could put two up top. You can start mixing things up with the addition of Jota. You can rest one of the front three. I mean, they've played a lot of football, and Mane especially has. So, you can rest one of them. You can maybe put Firmino out on the left. I don't know. You can just mix things up. The addition of Jota allows us further options. You can put Firmino at the top of the diamond. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it.
So I want to transition to Ox because since he's come back from injury, he's barely featured. Guys like Shaqiri are still getting the nod over him. Like, do you think Ox is coming to his time is coming to an end, and we could potentially see him out this summer?
I don't think Klopp trusts him.
I think he's done.
Go ahead. I don't think Klopp trusts him more. That's why he's not playing. Because he's been fully fit in training for weeks now. He's not been played, and the fact that other players have been put ahead of him, he ain't trusted anymore. So I think he's gone in the summer. I thought he was gone in the summer. Last summer, I said he was going. This is Ox. The reason why we didn't set Ox for this past summer was because there was too many moving pieces, and we wouldn't be able to replace him last summer. But this summer he's gone because we're going to go after that Michael Alisson from Reading. So Ox is 100% gone.
I think that he has played poorly when he has played ever since he came back from his injury in late fall. But I also think that the emergence of Curtis Jones has limited his playing time as well. I think Klopp's always going to pick Jones over Ox right now because Ox has lost that ability to dribble past people, and that's what Curtis Jones has in spades. So I think part of it's that he lost his trust in Ox, but I think it's also partly that Curtis Jones emerged and he's going to be a future star. So he deserves the time.
Yeah. I was actually looking at Jones's stats for all the players U23. He is number one guy and for all the players in the Premier League for a couple of key sabermetrics like key passes, dribble, successful dribbles, stuff like that. He is far and above just about everybody. The only person close with him is Phil Foden. Other than that, these two guys are in a class of their own. Everyone else is significantly below them. So definitely want to see Jones keep getting those minutes. Wahome brought up a good point with Olise potentially coming over. Another guy I saw that we were linked to was the midfielder from the Bundesliga. It was Newhouse or something like that. I forget what his name is. I think he plays for Werder Bremen. You guys hear about that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's a good player, very good player.
Yeah, he's a solid player. The problem is with all those guys is are people going to want to come here if we don't have Champions League football?
Yeah, I don't think someone like him. He's playing for
he plays for Werder Bremen. He doesn't have Champions League football anyway.
So I don't think that's not the issue. The only issue with the summer would be attracting players who play in the Champions League. Players who don't, they're not going to be an issue come to Liverpool. They're still going to jump at the chance to come to Liverpool. That guy is supposed to be the new Müller, and it's supposed to be highly thought of in terms of his ability to score goals and creativity. The fact that he gets loads of goals and assists, I wouldn't be against him signing him because I think we need a player like that. And plus, apparently, his fee wouldn't be that high. But yeah, going back to Ox, I think he's done. I think. Yes, Jones emerging has played a part, but I think there's been enough times for Ox to come on. The fact that Shaqiri's been playing against Ox, it's not just about Jones. It's the fact that he's not trusted at all. Because Shaqiri's got loads of more minutes than Ox could have. Ox would have normally been ahead of Shaqiri in the lineup, in the pecking order. And the fact that Shaq is seen as more the go-to player as a sub in the Everton game than Ox. Ox didn't come off the bench, doesn't really come off. Then I just think Ox's stays are numbered. I personally don't see Ox getting that much minutes going on for the rest of the season. I always felt that this summer anyhow Ox was going to go because I just felt his days were numbered. But one of him and Keita had to go, and it seems that it'll probably be Ox.
So, J Doc here in the chat has a question. What are you guys' thoughts on Elliott's performance in the championship? I think we can all agree that he's been playing really well. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on his performance, but also I saw an article today saying that he actually might stay with Liverpool next year and be part of the first team. So, what would your ideal scenario be with Elliott next year?
I would love to see him play for Liverpool, but I don't think he's ready for that yet. I think one of my concerns is that we saw Ryan Brewster do really well last year in the championship, and he hasn't scored a goal this year. I know that maybe comes down to the team that he's part of in Sheffield United and how poor that they've been. but I want to see that they can prove themselves in the Premier League first before they come back to Liverpool. So I think he needs to be loaned out again to another Premier League side. I'm not sure who. Hopefully not a team like Sheffield United. Hopefully it's a team that actually plays proper football. But I don't know if he's just not going to get enough time to make a real impact at Liverpool, at least right now. I mean, he's still 17 years old, so I would loan him out again.
Yeah, I personally think that why he's been amazing on loan at Blackburn. I think we have to be realistic. The fact that the Championship is a whole different level to the Premiership. I think it's a massive step up. Although I saw a stat that Harvey Ellis got more goal involvement than Grealish had in his last season in the Championship at a younger age. And he has been amazing there. And I know in the Championship you are playing against men. I just feel like, I know someone said to me the other day that we should treat Elliot like City have done Foden, like give him minutes here and there, and I look at Foden. So I do get a shout at that, but I just feel that Foden broke in at older age. Mm-hmm. It wasn't at 17 or just turned 18. He broke in more when he was fully 19.
But I think he was still in the squad when he was 17 and 18. Foden.
Yeah, but I think with the Elliot way he's played now, he needs more than just coming on and sitting on a bench and playing bit part. If you're going to play him a significant role next season, then fair enough. But if you're just going to say he's going to get League Cup and FA Cup games in the odd Premiership game, 10 minutes, then it's a waste of time. I think you're ruining his talent. Because he needs to be playing week in, week out. Or at least playing a significant role where you're saying, I'm going to bring you on in Premiership games, and I might give you half an hour in a game, and I might start in the odd game where you're playing that. But if you're just going to say, look, you're going to come on for like 5 or 2 minutes in Premiership games, I'm never going to give you a chance, then what's the point? If it's going to be like Nico Williams, then I don't see the point in bringing Elliot back to do what he's doing with Nico Williams. Because Nico Williams, for example, he started to look good. We've never seen him again since. And even with Trent's been poor, we've never seen him again since. So I don't want that to happen to Elliot. Because I think he's world-class potential. And if we develop him well, I'd rather him go, because Norwich are going to get promoted, I'd rather send him to Norwich or send him to Leeds if they stay up, or Southampton, one of those teams that play good football, and put a clause in the contract that says, look, he has to play a certain amount of games with you. Because I think any of those teams would jump for the chance of having Elliot because of, who's going to turn down a player that's got more assists than most senior, older players in the Championship.
Right. Would you guys be open to him going on a loan to a top league and not the Premier League, like the Bundesliga, La Liga, Italian league, anything like that?
I wouldn't. I would keep him in the Premier League.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'd prefer him to stay in the Premiership because I want him to get used to the Premiership, English football, rather. I mean, the Germany would have been good if that was the first time we were sending him out on loan and we were sending him out to Germany, then bringing him back. But now we want him to get Premiership level experience and to be tested in that sphere, so he can get used to it. And then, it's better. But otherwise, sending to Spain or Portugal, I think it's pointless right now.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, two other things before we close out here. Do you guys think that Liverpool still has a chance to win the Champions League?
Probably not. I mean, I think they could probably make a decent run. It depends on our draw. If we beat Leipzig, it depends on our draw next round. But I don't know. I mean, I don't. It could be like the dark horse in the tournament. I think that we hopefully can focus on top 4 more so than try to make a deep run into the Champions League and then ultimately lose and then not get top 4 as well. That would just be horrendous in my opinion. But although we would get more money.
I'll say this: I'll never write Liverpool out when it comes to Champions League. It's in our blood, it's in our DNA to win that Champions League. So I'll never write Liverpool off. Are we the favourites? No. We're not. Bayern Munich, Man City, PSG are probably more higher favourites without injuries. But like that, the data says, but all it takes is for a good draw. If you get in the next round, I don't know,
Porto.
one of the I think Porto.
Juve's going to beat Porto. Come on.
I think Porto loses to Juventus because they lost the first leg 1-0. But if you get one of Seville or Dortmund in the next round, we can think of probably the easier teams left in the competition. Or even like Real Madrid. I'd happy to.
You think we would beat Dortmund?
Yeah, Dortmund.
Holland would have a field day against us.
Yeah, but their defense is atrocious. The reason why Dortmund are 7th in the Bundesliga and teams like Frankfurt ahead of them because their defenses are shocking. The keeper is shocking. So as good as they are going forward, they're atrocious at the back. And against the game with Seville, they're doing that great defensively. So, but I think like if we could get Real Madrid as well, I'll take Real Madrid because I think they've been in shambles as well, and they're not the team to be feared anymore. Real Madrid, like they don't score goals really, and they got lucky in that game by a wicked goal by Ferland Mendy. Otherwise, they were struggling that game big time, and their defense is not great, and they play an old man midfield. So I'll take one of those. We can get a draw like that, and then the semi-final you're looking at, we get a decent draw then, and you're in the final. Then who knows? Like as long as if you could avoid a buy-in to the final, then I think then the final is just open anyone, and it's open down to anyone. There's no Bayern would be favourites, yeah. But we've seen anything happen in the final. We've seen Chelsea, 8 years ago, play Bayern in the final. Bayern actually destroyed Chelsea. Chelsea come back with one substitution and win on penalties. So just because you're the favourites doesn't mean you always win the title. AC Milan were the favourites in 2005. They didn't win it. So
yeah, but what's the constant between all of those teams you just mentioned? A solid defense.
Solid defense.
Milan was like the best defense ever, and Cavallo and John Terry back there with Ashley Cole and Ivanovic. Unbelievable.
We have the best defense. We finished like our 2005 team compared to now. This Liverpool team is much better than the 2005 team. We lost 17 times in the league that season, 2005, and we were shocking in the Premiership. This team hasn't lost as many times as that team. So, the only difference now, obviously, we've got more injuries now, and we'll probably miss. Last time we had Steven Gerrard, but the team has shown we can beat the big teams last year. 2 years ago, we beat Barcelona without our star players. So I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League. I'm just saying I'm not going to rule out Liverpool if we get a luck of the draw. And if some of the shock happens, we've seen in the Champions League over years that Barcelona, Bayern Munich, or City get kicked out by someone in the next round. No one thought City would lose to Lyon last year. No one. We've seen giant killings before. Where someone shocks another team because they think they're guaranteed to win it or to guarantee to win the game. So, if the draw is kind to us, it's possible. So that's what I'm saying. Never write Liverpool off because it's in our blood.
Is there any chance? I don't know what the situation is in Europe right now in England, but is there any chance that fans come back this season? Because in Boston or in the NBA right now, they're allowing fans to come back in March.
No,
it's like 12%. It's only 12% of the stadium capacity, but still, I mean,
I don't think so.
Will potentially offering something like that in the future, but I could be very wrong.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think that's going to happen in Europe. They're going to allow fans in the stadium. I don't think so. Not this season. Because if they want to do fans in the stadium, they'll allow you to play. They're making most teams play in like neutral stadiums. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. Even our second game against Leipzig is not going to be at Anfield. It's going to be a neutral venue. So
yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I don't.
But maybe we can see Virgil van Dijk in the Champions League final if we make it.
Istanbul as well. Finals Istanbul.
Okay.
That's an omen. I'm just saying. Just imagine. Liverpool get to the finals, Istanbul. Do you not feel that could then spur us, regardless of who you're playing in the final, whether it's City or Bayern Munich, for 100%. Liverpool to, and obviously people, when people write Liverpool off and say we're not good enough, everyone, we were 100-1 odds to win the Champions League in 2005. 2007, we were still 60-1 odds to even get to the final. Although we didn't win it, but we got to the final. No one expected us. So, as you said, the dark horse. So, I'm just saying, Istanbul final, who knows?
Hey, I just got to say, we've been on here for an hour, and there's been a complete 360. Oh, I'm sorry, 180 of Wahomey in his emotions and his mood here. Unbelievable.
Dare to dream. Dare to dream.
What a dream, baby. That's what it is. And you know what? I want to close on that note. We're all pumped. We're all excited. Let's wrap up on that note.
Yeah, good. Yeah, dare to dream.
Dare to dream, everybody. Dare to dream. Up the Reds. We'll be back tomorrow, Sunday, back Sunday for our post-match reactions to the Sheffield United match. Hopefully it's going to be happy faces, 3 points. You know what? It's going to be Dare to dream. We're going to go all the way to the top. Going straight to the top, Ari. But all you guys out there, we appreciate you. Chris Welch, J-Doc, we love you guys. Thank you so much. And otherwise, up the Reds. We'll see you guys on Sunday for the post-match. Take care.